What's going on, guys? And the topic of today's video is going to be surrounding some of RXBAR's recent moves and see if we can make a little bit of sense about, what is the future of RXBAR. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know the backstory on RXBAR, just some of the founders around RXBAR. If you guys don't, I would suggest you guys watch an NPR podcast called How I Built This. Great episode with Peter Rahal, one of the co-founders of RXBAR, just kind of give you a sense of just how it started. And just my personal story with RXBAR is I remember first trying it, I think, maybe late 2013, early 2014, when I was kind of deep into the CrossFit culture. I was training at a high-level gym in downtown Denver. Being that I've always been on the product side of everything and looking at trends, was very interested in RXBAR because it took an idea that I had kind of had in my head for a while, where you take a Larabar. If you guys are aware of Larabar, it's a date-based fruit and nut bar that's just really great, and adding protein to it. It's essentially what RXBAR was. So I was initially drawn to it and became a longtime customer of it. If we fast forward to about 18 months ago, they were purchased by the Kellogg's company for $600 million. During that time, that full year, 2017, when they did sell the business, it was estimated that their revenues were about $130 million at the time. They were the fastest growing bar business in the United States at the time. I unfortunately had a project that I was working on with a client that happened to share the contract manufacturer that they used for RX bars in California about a year before, and kind of into the acquisition of RXBAR. So it was extremely hard to get line time with that manufacturer. It was just one of those very difficult, challenging times. So I saw it firsthand in that manufacturing facility, visiting and just making sure that everything was online and working correctly. You saw just the sheer chaos at the contract manufacturer to keep up with RXBAR's growth at the time. Since Kellogg's bought RXBAR and kind of got it into its system, they noted through different press releases and earnings reports that RXBAR's sales about doubled in 2018. But kind of a year after the transaction, late 2018, some press on some job cuts that happened at RXBAR. I think 40 positions got cut, which was about 20% of their workforce. Despite the revenue growth and by all accords the division being profitable, Kellogg's decided to cut positions. What I read and different people that I talked to, a lot of those things were redundancies with having now a larger conglomerate strategic ownership. Though job cuts are never good, I think most people that have either been involved with acquisitions, mergers, different things like that for a long enough time understand that after a period of time where there's some integration, you tend to have a wave of just kind of job cuts. That's part of just acquisition synergies, cost savings that happen with a large strategic buying or merging with another one. To add icing on the cake, early 2019, a move was made to take Peter Rahal away from the CEO duties, one of the co-founders, and move him into product and brand strategy. And they moved their CFO, Jim Murray, to the CEO position. That in itself is not, again, abnormal. A lot of times, co-founders over time get so bogged down with being a CEO and dealing with some day-to-day stuff that's just not all that enjoyable anymore. They want to get back to the core of what they're passionate about. And product and brand strategy and areas like that was a better fit for Peter Rahal. And to transition into that maybe new product and brand strategy, and maybe why that move of a CEO is actually a positive, other than maybe it being a step down, is that Kellogg's bought RXBAR. They had a bigger vision for it than just a protein bar company. I think Kellogg's is smart enough to understand what maybe I understand. Protein bar styles, changes in kind of the protein bar landscape in terms of the form or composition of the bars change every about like 4 to 7 years. It's kind of been clockwork over the last 2 decades. Usually have about 1 to 2 years where the bar is getting kind of introduced to the market. There's some sales velocity that's happening. And then you have about 3 to 5 years of growth before it levels off and there's kind of a change in the guard from something new that's coming up. In this natural product life cycle, though is short, is something that I believe Kellogg's understands because of some of the moves that they just recently made. One, they kind of broadened RXBAR into some different product categories. Last year they launched a nut butter that had some of the same propositions and differentiation that the RXBAR had. This is Kellogg's way of kind of tiptoeing to see if the brand had legs outside of protein bars. I think the test went well enough for them to further extend that brand extension, and later this year they're going to be coming out with an RX Oats, again, that will have some propositions or differentiations that share what RXBAR is all about. I think the growth of RXBAR and just kind of some of the other product categories has transcended this very focused CrossFit name. RX is kind of this prescribed level of CrossFit when the workout is getting made. That is how the workout is intended to be performed at whatever rep range or weights. Anything below that is kind of scaled. So this RXBAR, it comes from CrossFit community. It was born in CrossFit. It grew from CrossFit, but now transcends CrossFit. It's well above that. You have them in all kind of major outlets. Spend any time like myself in an airport, you see soccer moms and grandmas and kids eating RX bars. So this is much different than the roots where it started. What Kellogg's will kind of take from the roots is this simplistic approach to nutrition. This idea that CrossFitters have been kind of putting out there for a long time, initially kind of with the paleo diet, but it's kind of morphed into some different things recently. But Kellogg's will take those core elements of the product and the brand and further diversify the product line. I believe in the next couple of years, you're going to see a similar approach that a company like Quest has recently been taking with frozen foods and different product extensions that are more geared towards food brand. I think you're going to see a very similar strategy in terms of product development and extensions into different areas of food, drug, mass convenience. But Kellogg's is not just going to stop there with just the extension and diversification of products from RX bars. They actually decided to create a new holding company that is going to house RX bars and line extensions. And this holding company that they created is called Insurgent Brands. In a way, with Peter Rahal kind of taking a more strategic approach and having some different ideas with maybe emerging products, maybe the next big thing, and wanting to not be confined within RXBAR. This gives him the perfect opportunity to tap into that creativity, get back to creating, but having the option to kind of go anywhere within this kind of premium function forward snacking framework. And the first launch from Insurgent Brands, they announced it at Natural Products Expo West. And this is TIG Snacks, TIG Snacks. I looked to see if that acronym meant anything because I figured maybe it had some unique definition. But when I looked at their social media, it says WTF is TIG, TIG is WTF, wholesome, tasty food. But TIG Snacks is starting out with a not so heavy on a protein function based bar. They're actually going more towards a wholesome, tasty type of an application that's comprised of puffed chickpeas, roasted green lentils, and crispy wild rice. And they're kind of spicing these up with some bold flavors like buffalo, barbecue, and pizza. So some interesting savory flavors far outside of what RXBAR is offering. But I'm interested to see maybe what comes next from TIG, or maybe what is the next brand creation, and that is within this new Insurgent Brands holding company. I believe Kellogg's is using this new holding company to be, in a sense, kind of their incubator for new ideas. Also, I think are going to throw some of their venture-funded companies that they maybe acquire. They'll throw into this holding company if they fit within the framework of the products. But To me, I think this is going to have a similar look and feel to maybe like Amplify Snacks here in Austin. That's a extension of Hershey's. So we'll see maybe where they take this Insurgent Brands holding company, maybe the direction, or where eventually it kind of moves so they can tap into some of the emerging startups and high growth areas of just the long tail of consumer packaged goods. But I'm going to end this topic here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed catching up to see what is all the new happenings at RXBAR. Like I said, this is this is arguably still the fastest growing bar brand. It has a ton of influence on the functional CPG category. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of updated you guys and kind of informed you on maybe where I think some of the moves are taking Insurgent Brands and Kellogg's company with this healthier for you, better for you movement or trend. If you guys have questions, comments, anything like that, make sure you guys do comment below on this video or add me on my other social media accounts and engage with me there. All of those links are down below. If you guys want to support me on this video, you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. Doesn't cost you guys anything other than a few seconds. Helps me out immensely. It also helps YouTube understand that you guys got some value out of this, and then they will spread this video out to more people. But just want to thank you guys for the time you gave me today. Hopefully I gave you guys some value in return for that time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.